Of the Aurora City Council for Monday, September 13, 2021 is called to order. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Mayor Kaufman.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Bergen.
Here.
Councilmember Berzins.
Here.
Councilmember Coombs.
Present.
Councilmember Gardner. Councilmember Gardner. Councilmember Gruber.
Here.
Councilmember Hiltz.
Here.
Councilmember Lawson.
Here.
Councilmember Marcano.
Present.
And Councilmember Mario.
Present.
There's a quorum.
Thank you. I'd like to do a moment of silence for all those lost to the pandemic, but also a number of us attended events over the weekend to commemorate the 20th anniversary of 9/11 and the heroism and the sacrifice of the first responders who went into the Twin Towers and who suffered horrible losses, and as well as the men and women who served on the subsequent war against terror and who lost their lives and made the ultimate sacrifice in defense of our freedom. A moment of silence. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to the United States of America. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States
of America
and to the republic
for which it
stands
one
nation
under God, indivisible, with
liberty and justice for all.
Executive session update. We discussed contract negotiations, approval of the minutes for July 12th, 2021.
Mayor.
Yes.
Well, I think we need to do public invited, but also your screen is very fuzzy.
Oh, hold on.
Mayor, did you?
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay, you got it.
Okay, there we go. Okay, announcement for public call in line.
Residents. The City Council welcomes feedbacks from residents at council meetings on both matters appearing on the agenda and during public invited to be heard. For those watching on Channel 8, please call 855-695-3475, and when connected, press star 3 to get in the queue. Don't forget the star. You will hear a prompt confirming you are in line to speak to an operator and then be able to continue listening to the meeting until the operator comes on. Take down your name and the agenda item you wish to speak on. Residents who would like to speak for public invited to be heard or on a specific agenda item and have not already been screened, press star 3 now before the item is called by the clerk. If you've already spoken to the operator, you do not need to press star 3 again. Callers who do not sign up before public invited to be heard is called by the clerk may still sign up to speak on non-agenda
I think it's okay now.
And as a reminder, we will not allow comments about any items on the agenda during public invited to be heard. Thank you.
El Consejo Municipal de la Ciudad de Aurora le da la bienvenida a la opinión de sus habitantes y otros vecinos en sus comentarios para comentario en la agenda y durante la invitación a la audiencia pública. Por favor, llame al número de teléfono 877-820-7831 y cuando esté conectado incluya el código 254610 y al término presione la tecla numeral. De esta manera se le confirmará su turno para compartir su comentario. La operadora tomará su nombre y el asunto a presentar ante el Consejo y le pondrá en espera. Las personas esperan hasta la invitación a la audiencia pública o hasta que se les ceda tiempo para tratar un tema específico de la agenda al ser llamado por el funcionario encargado. va a depender del volumen de asuntos previos a su llamada para que se conecte con la operadora. Así que, por favor, sea paciente y permanezca en la línea. Gracias.
Motion for approval of the minutes for July 12, 2021.
Mayor,
Councilmember McConnell.
move to approve the minutes from July 12th.
Moved by Councilmember McConnell, seconded by
Mayor, Councilmember Hiltz.
seconded by Councilmember Hiltz to approve the minutes for July 12, 2021. Discussion? Seeing none, would the clerk please call the roll on the approval of the minutes for July 12, 2021?
Mayor Kaufman,
Yes.
Councilmember Burzins,
Yes.
Councilmember Gruber,
Yes.
Councilmember Coombs,
Yes.
Councilmember Murillo,
Yes.
Councilmember Lawson,
Yes.
Councilmember Gardner, Mayor Pro Tem Bergen,
Yes.
Councilmember Marcano,
Yes.
Councilmember Hiltz.
Yes.
The motion passes to approve the July 12th, 2021 minutes.
Very well. We have one proclamation. Whereas September 17th, 2021 marks the 234th anniversary of the drafting of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention, and whereas it is fitting and proper to accord official recognition to this magnificent document and its memorable anniversary, and to the patriotic celebrations which well commemorate the occasion, and whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America, designating September 10th through 17th as Constitution Week. Now, therefore, I, Mike Hoffman, Mayor of the City of Aurora, do hereby proclaim the week of September 10th through 17th, 2021 as Constitution Week, and as our citizens, and ask our citizens to reaffirm the ideals of the framers of the Constitution had in 1787 by vigilantly protecting the freedoms guaranteed to us through the guardian of our liberties, remembering that lost rights may never be regained, in witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Aurora, Colorado to be fixed on this second day of September 2021. Mike Hoffman, Mayor of the City of Aurora. Public invited to be heard.
Mayor, we do have a few individuals on the line.
Please proceed.
Kate, you have 3 minutes. Go ahead.
Thank you to Mayor Kaufman and City Council members for the opportunity to speak today. I'm Catherine Mullins, Executive Director of Vega Collegiate Academy, and I'm here to address challenges and concerns with the City of Aurora in the construction of our new school facility located at 1400 Yosemite Street. Vega is a K-8 school of choice serving a student community composed primarily of refugees and immigrants. 68% of our students are English language learners, and nearly 97% of our students are part of the free and reduced lunch program. Since we opened in 2017, we have grown from a student body of 90 to more than 500. This year, we are moving from a small space in a church basement with 9 classrooms into a new facility with 18 classrooms of advanced technology, a cafeteria, a large library, granting our students and staff the facility they deserve. The city has long been seeking partners to redevelop this area of Northwest Aurora. We are turning 1400 Yosemite into a block with a state-of-the-art school, a block that will become a vital part of the community and a huge benefit to our neighbors and to the city of Aurora. Unfortunately, despite our continued efforts to cultivate a positive and productive relationship with the city, we've been met with challenges that are deemed unlawful. We've clearly documented all communication over the course of the past year and can provide a detailed outline for your review. The documentation was formally provided to the council, city staff, and Mayor Kaufman by Carlene Clark last Wednesday via email. For the sake of brevity, I will summarize. As a public school, Vega is not required to comply with the Aurora Development Code codified in the Unified Development Ordinance. As such, we proceeded under the location statute. We elected to submit plans to the state of Colorado for permitting, which requires a different format than required by the city. From the beginning, we've supplied addendums and additional documents to align to the formatting of the city in an act of collaboration, not because they are legally required. Despite receiving unanimous support and approval for the project from the Planning and Zoning Commission in a letter dated March 2nd, we continue to receive demands from the city as recently as September 1st that are not applicable to this project, such as requiring streetlights, ADA curbs, landscaping, and sidewalks. We are expecting to open our school to kids on August 2nd, but due to these delays caused by the city of Aurora, we will not be opening until next Monday, September 20th, which amounts to nearly 7 weeks of lost learning time for more than 500 Northwest Aurora students who are the most vulnerable children in our city. To act collaboratively, many of the requests made by the city of Aurora have been met, such as upgrading ADA access at USMD and 14th and Akron. In all cases, the team has tried to consider and add to our project scope where there is benefit for all parties, but we have gone way beyond that point and are now being asked to assume the burden of upgrading the city's responsibilities: old sidewalks, ADA access, street lighting, landscaping, etc. These components cannot and should not completely fall on the back of a public school. The process of adding streetlights alone would take an additional 6 to 8 weeks at minimum price point of $85,000. Money directly pulled from a public school, again, serving Aurora's most vulnerable children. At this point, the city's process has cost us more than $1 million in additional costs, added 4 months to the construction project, and caused immeasurable damage to our school's operations and enrollment.
Time is up.
We seek this council's help. Thank you.
All right, next is Martha. You have 3 minutes. Go ahead.
Hi, City Council members. My name is Martha, and I just really wanted more than public comment. Just a quick statement is that the FDA now is recently announcing that they're going forward on banning menthol cigarettes and flavored tobacco products, but mostly menthol. And I was kind of wondering where you guys stand on this, because we see that Denver is starting a local ordinance, as well as 6 other, counties as well have already passed a flavored ban, and that really menthol should be banned, especially. While it would be great to ban all flavored tobacco products, I know that's kind of tough, but menthol should definitely be banned, and that would help a lot with health equity. And it's kind of sad that it wasn't banned in 2009, and everybody knows the reason for that is because the majority of people who are using these products are African Americans, Spanish people, and, minority communities. However, I think it'd be great if the city of Aurora, has some type of ordinance or something that they're working on, and as council members to really speak on this and your thoughts on this flavor, as well as the FDA's initiative moving this, and get your guys' opinion on that, as well as the city of Aurora is going to be moving an ordinance that's really needed. Well, this will help especially with youth, because once the tobacco company really kills off a lot of their, users, they're just, the next best thing, of course, is identifying youth. So I really would just want to know if the city of Aurora is going to be, adopting an ordinance following suit as Denver and Edgewater and the 5 other counties and cities that have already passed an ordinance on banning flavored tobacco products. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Mary. You have 3 minutes. Go ahead.
My name is Mary Sebastian. My husband and I live in a community which is adjacent to the East Bank Shopping Center. East Bank Shopping Center. Who knew it had a name? It would still be a nameless place, save for the fact that the owner, Kimco, has gotten a new idea for the property. Kimco is based in New York and touts itself as publicly traded on the New York Stock Exchange since 1991 and is included in the S&P 500. It specializes in shopping center ownership, management, and acquisitions, and value-enhancing activities for more than 60 years. So let's just reiterate this, and I quote, Kimco is a real estate investment trust headquartered in Jericho, New York, that is North America's largest publicly traded owner and operator of open-air, grocery-anchored shopping centers and mixed-use assets. Our neighborhood shopping center, with our beloved Casa Vallarta restaurant and Pet Palace, is for our neighborhood a vital hub, a community gathering place, a place we can walk to. Although some of our favorite businesses have dried up and gone away, like the Donut Place, the Fitness Center, the Subway, the Dollar Store, we still see this as a shopping center. For us, as our Pierpoint developers left us with no community center or gathering place, the mall is our community center. Unfortunately for us, the city reclassified our beloved shopping center as a mixed-use asset. Also, unfortunately for us, to Kimco, this mixed-use asset looks like a good place to turn a quick profit. I object. What gives people who don't live here the right to turn a shopping center into housing? Not just a few houses, 311 units of 4-story housing that dwarfs our single-unit properties. This is pure greed, selfish, self-serving profit. Shame on you, Mr. Mayor, City Council, and your appointed Planning Commission if you allow this project to be built. Our neighborhood, our city deserves better representation than to allow an already crowded corner to be crammed with an intolerable number of additional people and their inevitable wasteful use of resources. And just so you know, the traffic light coming out of the mall went out of synchrony with the Smoky Hill, and the one at Parker allows exactly one car per green light to turn right, if we're lucky. So for those of you who are still thinking adding a mere 50, 40, 20, even 10 vehicles to morning rush hour wouldn't be a problem, yeah. This addition of 311 apartments to the
Mary, your time is up.
Parker. Thank you for letting me speak, but please don't let a New York-owned company dictate what's good for Aurora, Colorado. Thanks.
That's all that are in the queue.
Adoption, I need a motion for adoption of the agenda.
Mayor,
Councilmember McConnell.
so moved.
It's been moved by Councilmember McConnell, seconded by Councilmember Lawson to approve the agenda. Discussion. Seeing no discussion, would the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the agenda?
Mayor Kaufman,
Yes.
Councilmember Lawson,
Yes.
Councilmember Hiltz.
Yes.
Councilmember Marcano,
Yes.
Councilmember Murillo,
Yes.
Councilmember Coombs,
Yes.
Councilmember Gardner,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bergen,
Yes.
Councilmember Berzins,
Yes.
Councilmember Gruber.
Yes.
The motion passes to approve the agenda.
I need a motion to approve the consent calendar, item number 10A through 10K.
Mayor Dave Gruber.
It's been moved by Councilmember Gruber, seconded by
Berzins?
Councilmember Berzins to approve the consent calendar, item number 10A through 10K. Discussion?
Mayor, Councilmember Hiltz.
Councilmember Hiltz.
I'd like to pull 10H and 10I. I don't need a presentation. I just need to recuse from those two items.
10H. and
10H and 10I.
Very well.
Thank you.
Then the motion before us is the adoption of the consent calendar, item number 10A through 10G and 10J through 10K. Discussion? Further discussion? Seeing no further discussion, would the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the consent calendar, item 10A through 10G and 10J through 10K.
Councilmember Hiltz,
Yes.
Councilmember Murillo,
Yes.
Mayor Kaufman,
Yes.
Councilmember Marcano,
Yes.
Councilmember Berzins,
Yes.
Councilmember Gruber,
Yes.
Councilmember Lawson,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bergen,
Yes.
Councilmember Gardner,
Yes.
Councilmember Coombs.
Yes.
The motion passes to approve items 10A through 10G and 10J through 10K.
Would the clerk now please read the title of item number 10H?
Item 10H is consideration to award a competitively bid contract to Republic Services of Denver, Commerce City, Colorado, in the amount of $125,679.72 for trash collection services in the north side of the city through August 31st, 2022.
Motion.
Mayor?
I'm sorry, Councilmember Coombs.
Yes, move to approve 10H.
Been moved by Councilmember Coombs, seconded by
Birkin?
Mayor Pro Tem Bergen to approve item number 10H. Discussion? Seeing no further discussion, will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of item number 10H?
Mayor Kaufman,
Yes.
Councilmember Marcano,
Yes.
Councilmember Gardner,
Yes.
Councilmember Coombs,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bergen,
Yes.
Councilmember Gruber,
Yes.
Councilmember Berzins,
Yes.
Councilmember Murillo,
Yes.
Councilmember Lawson.
Yes.
The motion passes to approve item 10H.
Will the clerk please now read item number 10I?
Item 10I is consideration to award a competitively bid contract to Republic Services of Denver, Commerce City, Colorado in the amount of $109,295.92 for trash collection services on the side of the
Motion.
city, 31st, 2022.
Sorry, a motion? Motion.
Mayor, move to approve 10I.
Been moved by Councilmember O'Connor, seconded by
Coombs?
Councilmember Coombs to approve item number 10I. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of item number 10I?
Mayor Kaufman,
Yes.
Councilmember Berzins,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bergen,
Yes.
Councilmember Gardner,
Yes.
Councilmember Coombs,
Yes.
Councilmember Murillo,
Yes.
Councilmember Marcano,
Yes.
Councilmember Lawson,
Yes.
Councilmember Gruber.
Yes.
The motion passes to approve item 10I.
The time is now 6:53. The council will stand at recess until 6:58 to give staff time to do the announcement for the call-in line. Council is now in recess.
Residents who would like to speak on a resolution or ordinance and have not already been screened, please press *3 before the item is called by the clerk. For those watching on Channel 8, please call 855-695-3475 to be connected, and then press *3. Council is taking a short break to allow speakers to sign up. Again, be patient and stay on the line until the operator is able to take down your information. As long as you hear a prompt after pressing *3, you are in line to speak to an operator.
City Council is back in session. Will the clerk now please read the title to item number 11A?
Item 11A is Resolution 2021-99, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Aurora, Colorado for acquisition of certain real property interests necessary for the I-70 Piccadilly Road Interchange Project.
Brief presentation by staff.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and esteemed members of the council. My name is Hector Reynoso, and I am the manager of the real properties. Sorry, did I go on mute there? Sorry, I'm the manager of the Real Property Services Division of the Public Works Department for the City of Aurora. In 2019, the City of Aurora was awarded a $25 million U.S. Department of Transportation grant in the amount, trying to move my screen so that I can do my presentation. Okay, yes, to construct the I-70 at Piccadilly Road Interchange Project. In 2019, the city received a U.S. Department of Transportation grant in the amount of $25 million to construct the I-70 at Piccadilly Road Interchange Project. The project's footprint is depicted in your backup. It's the Exhibit A titled January 25th, the attachment titled January 25th. Acquisition of real property interests from 5 owners is necessary to construct the project. On July 21st, 2021, the city initiated negotiations with Genesee Properties and made an offer in the amount of $2,545,316 to acquire necessary real property interests. That offer was based on an independent appraisal report obtained by the city. As part of the negotiations, Genesee Properties also obtained an independent appraisal report that came in at $2,801,418, or approximately 10% higher. Staff proposes, and Genesee Properties counteroffered at their appraised amount. Staff proposes to proceed with a purchase price to acquire the necessary real property interests in an amount not to exceed $2,801,418,000. Keep in mind that is based on an independent appraisal report. So the question for council is, does City Council approve acquisition of real property interests, the land described on Exhibit A, for an amount not to exceed $2,801,418 plus incidental expenses and closing costs?
Motion.
Mayor,
Councilmember McConnell.
move to approve 11A.
Been moved by Councilmember McConnell, seconded by? Second by Councilmember Lawson to approve item number 11A. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, would the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of item number 11A?
Councilmember Marcano?
Yes.
Councilmember Lawson?
Yes.
Councilmember Gardner?
Yes.
Councilmember Coombs?
Yes.
Councilmember Berzins?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bergen?
Yes.
Councilmember Gruber?
Yes.
Councilmember Hiltz?
Yes.
Councilmember Murillo?
Yes.
The motion passes to approve Resolution 2021-99.
Will the clerk now please read the title to item number 11B?
Item 11B is Resolution 2021-100, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Aurora, Colorado, authorizing the submission of an application to Great Outdoors Colorado for a grant in the amount of $700,000 for Phase 2 Plains Conservation Center Improvements Construction Project.
Brief presentation by staff.
Mayor Kaufman and City Council members, this is Pat Schuler, Manager of Open Space and Natural Resources for the PROS Department. PROS wishes to apply for a grant from Great Outdoors Colorado for the planned improvements to trail and outdoor classroom areas at the Plains Conservation Center. Great Outdoors Colorado requires a resolution authorizing this application by City Council. We are asking City Council for approval of this resolution tonight.
Motion.
Mayor.
Motion.
Hiltz.
Councilmember Hills.
Motion to approve 11B.
It's been moved by Councilmember Hill, seconded by?
Second.
Councilmember McConnell to approve item number 11B. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of item number 11B?
Mayor Pro Tim Bergen,
Yes.
Councilmember Coombs,
Yes.
Councilmember Lawson,
Yes.
Councilmember Marcano,
Yes.
Councilmember Gardner,
Yes.
Councilmember Burzins,
Yes.
Councilmember Murillo,
Yes.
Councilmember Hill.
Yes.
Councilmember Gruber.
Yes.
The motion passes to approve resolution 2021-100.
Thank you. The time is now 7:03. Council will stand in recess until 7:08 to give staff time to do an announcement for the call-in line. We are now in recess. Council is now in recess.
Residents who would like to speak on an ordinance and have not already been screened, please press star 3 before the item is called by the clerk. For those watching on Channel 8, please call 855-695-3475 to be connected and then press star 3. Council is taking a short 5-minute break to allow for speakers to sign up. Again, be patient and stay on the line until the operator is able to take down your information. As long as you hear the prompt after pressing star 3, you are in line to speak to an operator. Thank you.
Council is now back in session. Public, would the clerk now please read the title to item number 12A?
Item 12A is ordinance 2021-37, public hearing and consideration for an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Aurora, Colorado, amending the 2018 comprehensive plan to change the place type map from industrial hub to commercial hub for the area bounded by East 40th Avenue to the north, Interstate 70 to the south, East 40th Circle to the west, and approximately 1,000 feet beyond Salida Street to the east, Gateway Park Comprehensive Plan Amendment, commercial hub.
Public hearing is now open. Presentation by staff.
This is Debbie Bickmeyer, Senior Planner. The City of Aurora Planning and Development Services Department is requesting a comprehensive plan amendment to change the place type designation from industrial hub to commercial hub for approximately 165 acres centered around the light rail station at 40th Avenue and Gateway Park, generally located between 40th Avenue to the north and I-70 to the south. The amendment area includes land adjacent to Pena Boulevard, which is in the City of Aurora and is owned by Denver International Airport.
Go ahead, please. I'm sorry.
Okay. Very short, just a couple of more items. The current comprehensive plan designation is industrial hub, which supports a variety of industrial and commercial development consistent with the surrounding zoning. The proposed commercial hub place type is characterized by primary uses that include shopping centers, retail, commercial services, and other uses including multifamily, residential, and office. This request is to support the vision of the Gateway Park East Station Area Plan for transportation-oriented development around the light rail station. The Planning and Zoning Commission voted 6-0 to recommend approval of the proposed amendment at the public hearing on August 11th. Commissioner Tercios was absent. The approval criteria for a comprehensive plan amendment are found in Code Section 146-5.4.1A. Staff finds the proposed comprehensive plan amendment to change the place type from industrial hub to commercial hub place type meets the approval criteria and promotes the long-term economic, social, and environmental health of the city and protects the public health, safety, and welfare of the citizens of Aurora. That completes my presentation.
Thank you very much. Presentation by the applicant.
The applicant will be speaking, the applicant in this case is the city. The applicant will be speaking following the requested rezone as item 12B.
Are there any members of the public who wish to speak?
There is nobody in the line.
Questions by council members? Seeing none, the public hearing is now closed. Motion?
Mayor Dave Gruber.
Councilmember Gruber.
Move to approve 12A.
So moved by Councilmember Gruber, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Bergen to approve item number 12A. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, will the clerk please call the roll on the approval of item number 12A?
Councilmember Coombs?
Yes.
Councilmember Gardner?
Yes.
Councilmember Gruber?
Yes.
Councilmember Mario?
Yes.
Councilmember Lawson?
Yes.
Councilmember Marcano?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bergen?
Yes.
Councilmember Heltz?
Yes.
And Councilmember Berzins?
Yes.
The motion passes to approve ordinance 2021-37.
Would the clerk now please read the title to item number 12B?
Item 12B is ordinance 2021-38, 38, public hearing and consideration for an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Aurora, Colorado, rezoning 2 separate parcels of land measuring 17.763 acres more or less at the northeast corner of South Airport Boulevard and East Alameda Parkway from Industrial District I-2 to Mixed Use Trans-Oriented Development District MUTOD and amending the zoning ordinance accordingly.
Public hearing is now open. Presentation by staff.
This is Debbie Bickmeyer, Senior Planner. The applicant, Paul's Corp., is requesting to rezone 2 lots on 17.76 acres. The property is outlined in red in the image on the screen. They're requesting to go from I-2 to MUTOD. The site is located in the southeast quadrant of 40th Avenue and Salida Street, east of Pena, north of I-70, and west of Tower Road. The city of Denver is located immediately to the north of 40th Avenue. A separate application for a site plan with adjustments for 374 multifamily dwelling units on 12.5 acres is also concurrently being reviewed. The existing zone of the property is I-2 Industrial District, and the site is surrounded by I-2 zoning with MUC, mixed use corridor, within a half a mile to the south and the east. The subject property, which is identified in orange, is the first request for TOD zoning within proximity to the Gateway Park light rail station. However, the area that is outlined in orange in this map is also proposed for TOD development, and those areas will be rezoned at the time of future development. The rezone request is to promote mixed use and residential development consistent with the vision of the Gateway Park East Area Station Area Plan. The Planning and Zoning Commission voted 6-0 to recommend approval of the proposed rezone at the public hearing on August 11th. Commissioner Tercios was absent. The criteria for approval are included in UDO section 146-5.4.1C. Staff finds the proposed rezone meets the criteria and is consistent with the spirit and intent of the Aurora Places Comprehensive Plan. That concludes my presentation. I believe the applicant would like to speak at this time.
Presentation by the applicant.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Council, for the opportunity to share our plans with you for flats on the A at Gateway Park. I'm Samantha Paul-Miller, located at 1101 Bannock Street, Denver, Colorado, 80204. Next slide, please. Thank you. All right. Debbie's presentation was very thorough and informational, and therefore I don't want to dwell on this slide for too long, but flats on the A at Gateway Park is envisioned as a mixed-use, multifamily, residential, and commercial development within the Gateway Park East Station area. We are located at the southeast corner of East 40th Avenue and Salida Street, just east of the existing RTD stop and parking lot. Other adjacent uses include existing industrial, warehousing to the east, northeast, and south, and future residential to the north-northwest within the Denver city boundary. The property acts as a transitional use between the station and the existing industrial uses to the east and serves as a catalyst for the TOD, bringing in higher density residential and neighborhood level commercial to the immediate station area. Next slide, please. Thank you. The property is currently zoned Industrial 2, along with the surrounding areas. We are proposing a rezone to mixed-use TOD, which would be consistent with the comprehensive plan and vision for the Gateway Park East Station area, which was discussed earlier in the public hearing. The station area vision promotes higher density residential and commercial near the station, thereby increasing ridership, reducing parking demands, and providing neighborhood-level services to both residents and riders. The proposed multifamily and commercial development are consistent with the characteristics of an edge subdistrict, which encourages residential and commercial development within walking distance to transit, promotes prominent pedestrian corridors, and has a transitional urban character. Next slide, please. With the recent change and adoption of the comprehensive plan for this area, the site fosters the intent of the commercial hub place type and the vision of the Gateway Park East TOD station by providing a special and sustainable blend of transitional urban character and higher density housing with direct access to multimodal transit. is not only a catalyst for development near the station, but it also provides additional public improvements to adjacent streets and sidewalks while providing a high level of design subject to additional review by the Gateway Park Design Review Committee. Next slide, please. And that concludes our applicant presentation. Very brief tonight. I'm here for any questions along with my fellow design consultants if you have any for us. Thank you.
Are there any members of the public who wish to speak?
There's nobody on the line to speak.
Very well. Are there questions from council members to the applicant or to staff?
Mayor?
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yeah, I just have one for staff. When we were doing the UDO a while back, why wouldn't this parcel have been identified since it is TOD, but I guess we didn't catch it, or that it would have been probably already put as mixed use?
Well, the way the station area, the way that the UDO and the map transition occurred, it was intended to reflect what the underlying zoning was. So no individual property would be either upzoned or downzoned with, during that process. It was intended to be very consistent. And then also the way the station area plan was written, and it was a collaboration between Gateway Park and the city. It very clearly outlined that as individual properties intended for TOD development came in, that they would do their rezoning at that time.
Okay.
So that's why we say this is probably the first of several intended in the area.
That's what I was thinking too. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
To the applicant, the mayor, I'm looking at the elevation, it's 4 stories.
Yes, that's correct. There's 3 buildings that are proposed as 4 stories and a central 1-story amenity and leasing.
Further questions of the applicant or staff?
Mayor?
Councilmember Combs.
I am just wondering if there's a sense of kind of the timeline for this parcel as well as this general area in terms of when the development is likely to occur.
Absolutely, Councilman Combs. We would love to break ground yet.
You're muted.
You muted in the middle of it, I think, or we can't hear.
No.
Still.
Got nothing still.
Shoot. Maybe staff knows.
There she is.
How about now?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I just did the old on and off mute button and it worked. What I was saying is we would love to break ground yesterday if we could. So assuming, we can get approvals, we're finishing up that process with staff right now with technical revisions, and we're hoping to break ground, I think, as before the end of the year if possible.
Mayor, can I ask a follow-up?
Councilmember Combs.
So this is the comprehensive plan change, and then you'll be bringing back the site plan at a later date, but you're hoping as soon as possible.
So the site plan was approved through Planning Commission back in August. Planning Commission is part of a site plan with adjustments, but it was not told to us that we would need to go to City Council for that approval of the site plan.
Okay, Mayor, can I ask a further follow-up?
Please follow up.
Okay, and then what is the price point of the housing that's being recommended within this plan area?
Mayor, point of order.
Mayor Pro Tem.
I just want to be clear on our policy. I thought we are only supposed to discuss the rezone, but maybe I'm wrong.
A question for the city attorney. I would think that any question is still in order. City attorney.
That's correct. This question is still within the public hearing context, so staff can respond.
Very well. Staff, please respond. Applicant.
Sure. The prices, I may not be the best person to speak on that specifically. I know they're going to be market driven, and it's not intended to be subsidized in any way. But I'm looking for Joe Williams as a representative of Paul's Corp. Might be a better responder to that question if he's available to answer questions. Joe Wilson. Joe, if you're on, you might want to, if you can unmute.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. This is Joe Wilson with Paul's Corp. The answer is this is market rate housing. It'll be market rate. It's all residential and for rent housing.
Okay. Further questions?
Mayor.
Councilmember McConnell.
Thank you, sir. Councilmember Coombs asked one of the questions I wanted to ask, but I did have a question more generally regarding to the rendering that you demonstrated here and the letter of introduction that you included in our backup. So first, I want to thank y'all because I think one of the problems that we've had at Park, which I also believe Norris worked on, is we're severely underparked. So I saw that here as a transitional area, you have upped the parking, but at the same time, it seems like there is a veritable ocean of parking as opposed to, I think you have almost like a surplus of 200 units. So I'm just curious as to what the thought is behind having so much parking where there could potentially have been more density both for residents and for businesses on the ground floor.
Absolutely, Councilmember Mercado. So you're right. With the park development, we were underparked there, and we tried to kind of remediate that issue, I guess, with lessons learned here. We are trying to shoot for one parking space per bedroom rather than one space per unit, because we do have multiple, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom unit types. So making sure that the parking is adequate. And we did try to, I know it looks like a sea of parking, but that's because we're trying to keep it internal to the property. So the buildings are really on the perimeter. That helps the streetscape along the edge and really enforces that more urban character. So having the parking internal does, kind of group it all together in that sense versus, having some on the inside, having some on the outside, it would be the alternative to that. And we did have some areas in between the parking lots that, have a putt-putt, core, some places for gathering, trying to break it up as much as we can, where we can.
All right, thank you.
Just one question, isn't that, for transit-oriented development, isn't that a pretty high ratio between units and parking spaces?
It's with Mayor Kaufman, yes. I mean, it is higher than the park development, and that's nearby, like I had mentioned. But because it is still a TOD, but because it hasn't developed very much in the area, we know there's still a desire and need for parking for commuters here, even though it is next to the station, and we are within code requirements.
Okay. Further questions of staff or the applicant from members of council?
Mayor.
Councilmember McConnell.
Thank you, sir. Kind of following up on the mayor's comment, did y'all consider a garage as part of the development to kind of maybe still preserve those amenities that you were describing, but also just reduce the amount of asphalt, that we're putting out there? I agree that these areas, even though we're trying to build more densely, people still, especially in Aurora, since we're kind of, we've designed with a lot of sprawl in mind, unfortunately, they need a vehicle to get to the grocery store or to get to their place of employment a lot of the time. So was that ever a consideration to kind of try to stack parking where feasible?
Sure, I'll respond to that. I think a structured parking is always considered, but it's fiscally very expensive. And to me, with creative site planning that we did, like I said, we can accommodate with surface parking, but I definitely see your point. for a desire for structured parking, but it wasn't economically feasible for this project.
Okay.
Mayor,
I'm sorry.
Councilmember Lawson.
Councilmember Lawson.
I just had a question. With this being within a TOD site, is there an incentive for the developer or just working with RTD to maybe give some incentive to people to take transit? Like some discounts or things like that?
Yes, Councilor Lawson, I might defer to Joe on that one if there's been any discussion through the Gateway or through Pulse Corp group with the RTD discussions, maybe something offline.
Mayor?
Sorry, I'm sorry, who is it? Mayor Pro Tem.
Is there an application for this site in my backup that I'm not seeing?
When you say application,
well, we're talking about all this very detailed information about a plan that's not even in my backup, I don't think. I thought it was a rezoning.
it is a rezoning, yes. I think I included just the base map for the actual site plan in your backup.
Further discussion.
Mayor, I did ask a question, so.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Councilmember
Unless
Lawson.
I can be standard corrected that we're not, it can't be discussed, I would like an answer.
Yes, Councilman Lawson, absolutely. Sorry, I had a little cut off, but I'm not 100% sure if we've had a lot of conversations with RTD. I know they're part of our referral group, and we didn't get a lot of comments back from them, but we can certainly reach out to them and see if we can offer some incentives to help ridership. I think that's a great idea.
Further discussion. I'm sorry, Councilmember Mayor Pro Tem, did you have anything else?
No, I was just trying to find it in my backup. Thank you.
Okay, further discussion.
Mayor.
Councilmember McConnell.
Thank you, sir. What would be necessary for there to be a certain amount of, units that are below market rate in this development? I know that we don't have an inclusionary zoning opt-in passed at the city yet. Hopefully that's something that we'll be able to do in the future. But I just wanted to kind of get your take on that as well, because I am concerned about the escalating, price of housing here, greatly outstripping people's incomes.
Councilman Marcano, was that question?
Yes, ma'am, it would be geared to you or whoever else would like to answer.
Did you ask, can you repeat that for me?
Yes, what would be necessary? The earlier answer we got when we asked what the price point was that it's all going to be market rate. So what would be necessary to get a certain amount of affordable units here or, below market rate units? I'm concerned that the market rate for apartments is greatly outstripping people's ability to pay. And then, we're ending up with a whole bunch of housing burdened folks living in our city as a result.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm not sure, again, if I'm the correct person to answer that question. I don't know if Joe Wilson, again, as the applicant might want to respond, but.
I'm sorry, this is Mayor, it might be somebody from the city, but I think that you would have had to apply for, one of several programs, I think, early on in the process to be able to have subsidized units, if I'm correct in that.
Yeah, that's true, Mayor Kaufman. At the beginning, when you are going in for design, at the beginning, looking to go for under market rate, there are, grants and federal funding, state funding that you would apply for at the beginning, credits that go through certain credit review cycles that would help subsidize those units. But we did not go through that process.
To clarify, Mayor?
Please proceed.
Thank you. I wasn't talking about, using LIHTC credits. I was, since Councilmember Lawson asked if you had received an incentive, that actually got me wondering if that was ever part of a discussion to actually provide affordability. So separate from LIHTC credits, I understand you'd have to do that at the beginning. And we have several projects like that in the city currently. But yeah, just wanted to ask if that was ever part of the discussion.
Councilman Marcano, no, I am not aware of any considerations for pursuing light tech credits or any
Or
other.
anything else? Okay. All right. Thank you.
Further discussion? Seeing none, the public hearing is now closed. Motion?
Mayor Dave Gruber,
Councilmember Gruber.
move to approve 12B.
It's been moved by Councilmember Gruber, seconded by Councilmember Marcano to approve item number 12B. Is there further discussion? Seeing no further discussion, will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of item number 12B?
Councilmember Burzins?
Yes.
Councilmember Gruber?
Yes.
Councilmember Marcano?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bergen?
Yes.
Councilmember Hiltz?
No.
Councilmember Murillo?
Yes.
Councilmember Coombs?
Yes.
Councilmember Gardner?
Yes.
Councilmember Lawson?
Yeah.
The motion passes to approve ordinance 2021-38.
Will the clerk now please read the title to item number 12C?
Item 12C is ordinance 2021-39, public hearing and consideration for an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Aurora, Colorado, amending the 2018 comprehensive plan to change the place type map from emerging neighborhood and commercial hub to industrial hub for the area bounded by East 56th Avenue to the north, the future Harvest Road to the west, the future Powhatan Road to the east, and the future 48th Avenue to the south.
The public hearing is now open. Presentation by staff.
Good evening, Mayor Kaufman and City Council. I have a short presentation tonight, and there will not be an applicant presentation afterwards since the city is the applicant. The location of the property of land is located north of the future alignment of 48th Avenue between the future alignment of Harvest Road and Powhatan Road, and the site is currently vacant. In summary, the City of Aurora Planning and Development Services is requesting a staff-initiated comprehensive plan amendment to change a parcel of land from emerging neighborhood and commercial hub to industry hub, which supports the current zoning of the parcel of Airport District. The current comprehensive plan place type designation is emerging neighborhood, which envisions a largely residential neighborhood with supporting retail and services. Industrial development would not be compatible with this place type designation. The proposed industry hub place type designation would support a variety of industrial and commercial development, which would be consistent with the current Airport District zone district designation and clarify expectations for development in this area. This amendment would be a logical extension of existing industrial hub designations to the north and east. The Planning Commission recommends to the City Council approval of the comprehensive plan amendment from emerging neighborhood and commercial hub to industry hub because the proposal complies with the requirements of comprehensive plan amendments of the Unified Development Ordinance for the following reason. The industry hub place types are centers of activity supporting the city's employment base and economy, and the proposed change is supported by the existing Airport District zone district. Supporting land uses include light industrial, heavy industrial, and urban agriculture. And that will conclude my presentation.
Questions of staff by council?
Dave Gruber.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to back up one. Is there anybody who wishes to speak on this item from the public?
There's nobody on the line.
Very well. Councilmember Gruber.
Has a comprehensive plan or site plans been developed for this property yet, or is that all still in development?
Councilmember, the Sun Empire team has submitted a master plan. It is currently in the first referral review process, and that's the furthest it has gone today.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Further questions of the staff? Very well. The public hearing is now closed. Motion.
Mayor.
Councilmember Coombs.
Move to approve.
Been moved by Councilmember Coombs, seconded by
Second.
Second by Councilmember Mercano to approve item number 12C. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of item number 12C?
Councilmember Gardner,
Yes.
Councilmember Burzins,
Yes.
Councilmember Coombs,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bergen,
Yes.
Councilmember Gruber,
Yes.
Councilmember Hiltz,
Yes.
Councilmember Marcano,
Yes.
Councilmember Mario,
Yes.
Councilmember Lawson.
Yes.
The motion passes to approve ordinance 2021-39.
Very well. The time is now 12:59. Council will stand in recess until, I'm sorry, the time is now 7:39. Council will stand in recess until 7:44 to give staff time, the ability, the time to make an announcement for the call-in line. Council is now in recess.
Residents who would like to speak on an ordinance that have not already been screened, please press *3 before the item is called by the clerk. For those watching on Channel 8, please call 855-695-3475 to be connected, and then press *3. Council is taking a short break to allow for speakers to sign up. Again, please be patient and stay on the line until the operator is able to take down your information. As long as you hear the prompt after pressing *3, you are in line to speak to an operator. Thank you.
Council is now back in session. Will the clerk please read the title to item number 14A?
Item 14A is ordinance 2021-35 for an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Aurora, Colorado, amending sections 54-2 and sections 54-101, 54-103, 54-104.5, and 54-110 of the City Code related to the financing of electoral campaigns.
Motion?
Mayor,
Councilmember Connell.
move to approve 14A.
It's been moved by Councilmember Mercano, seconded by?
Combs.
Seconded by Councilmember Coombs to approve item number 14A. Discussions?
Mayor.
Councilmember Coombs, Mercano.
Thank you, sir. So I just want to say that I did not receive any emails, text messages, or phone calls from my colleagues. So I'm hoping that that means everyone is satisfied with the changes that were made. And if you have any other questions, we do have Rachel Allen and Mark Gruskin, who are, I think, Mark Gruskin is with us in case y'all do have any more questions.
Mayor?
Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes, and thank you, Councilmember Marcano. I do not have any more questions. I'm good with it.
Further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of item number 14A. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Gardner?
No.
Councilmember Murillo?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bergen?
Yes.
Councilmember Marcano?
Yes.
Councilmember Lawson?
Yes.
Councilmember Burzins?
Yes.
Councilmember Gruber?
Yes.
Councilmember Hiltz?
Yes. Yes.
Councilmember Coombs?
Yes.
The motion passes to approve ordinance 2021-35.
Will clerk now please read the title to item number 15A?
Item 15A is ordinance 2021-31, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Aurora, Colorado, amending Chapter 6 of the City Code to update definitions and licensing and to allow marijuana hospitality businesses and retail marijuana hospitality and sales businesses within the city. And Mayor, we do have a few callers in the line to speak.
Very well, please proceed with the callers.
All right, first is Robin. You have 3 minutes. Go ahead. Robin, you're first. Go ahead. You have 3 minutes. All right, we seem to be missing Robin.
I'm sorry, I had my phone on mute. Can you hear me now?
Go ahead. Yes, we can.
Okay. I don't understand the benefits to having pot lounges here in Aurora. We already have several DUIs. We have people under the influence of other kinds of drugs. Marijuana is legal to use in one's home. You can have parties in your own home with your own marijuana. I do not understand the reason for the pot lounges. I know the reasoning was given that hotels don't want people smoking in their rooms. They need a place to go to do so. But again, we're trying to make a better Aurora. Why are we having more people under the influence when our crime rate is going up? Our police officers are at a loss for how to get more police officers on patrol. There are 100 officers down, if not more. And it's just unnecessary, in my point of view, to have more people under the influence in Aurora, which would add to our crime rate and accident rate. Thank you for listening. I appreciate it.
All right. Next is Don Koenig. Go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Yes, hello. Thank you so very much, you guys, for taking the time to listen. My name is Don Quinique Jaffe. I'm a biblical activist in the cannabis space. And the fact that we even have to have discussions in reference to agriculture only brings us back 400 years. So from cotton to cannabis, tobacco to cannabis, rice to cannabis, sugar to cannabis, we are still living under the dark history of the peculiar institution in which this land was colonized. If civil war was over agriculture and slaves, and Breonna Taylor is dead behind the war on drugs, and now we are sitting here talking about an opportunity for social equity. Equity is a joke for this country, but we need inclusion in a industry that looks very peculiar and looks just like the plantation ownership, where you have the mostly rich and white owning all of the licenses of cannabis. And so since the murder of George Floyd, I have been protesting outside of cannabis businesses because we have been forced and pushed into this small little space of social equity where we're just doing hospitality. Now we're just housing the goods for the new cotton owners so that people can use cannabinoids safely in a place and be staying there. So then, as the person just spoke, would not have to have anyone driving around there, can just stay there and rest. And while they're using their cannabinoids, people have the right to medicate and not die. And the fact that we are asking for this, you kind of look like your founding fathers with the behavior that is very resemblance to the curse that has been placed on this land because Cain never had this is a Cain and Abel situation, and Cain has never had a heart for the harvest work in the first place. The fact that we have to beg as people of African ancestry for the same thing that you yourselves get to profit off of and also feed the government and also feed the police, but we are also still in prison for the exact same thing. And so from cotton to cannabis, this needs to be something that needs to not only be addressed for hospitality, but cultivation as well. If we want to release ourselves from the very dark history of this land, it's time to honor the land, honor the lives, and honor ourselves and God, and let us glean. And that's all scripture, Leviticus chapter 19, 9, and 10. And so the 1619 project sits on the shores here of our great old United States of America, and also sits in scripture. For 400 years, your descendants will be enslaved and mistreated in a land not their own, but I will punish that nation that they serve in as slaves, and then they will come out and worship me in this place. Are we better than our history? Are you better than your founding fathers? And let's all find out, because if cotton was playing the overseer, cannabis is playing the police. Justice for Elijah McClain, and give us our harvest. This is Don Quinique, and that is a prayer. Full inclusion bring greater riches in the critical race theories that's right in the cannabis industry and right in agriculture and right in our work. I thank you.
All right, next is Victoria. Go ahead. 3 minutes.
Yes, my name is Victoria Osler. I'm a current resident of Aurora. My partners and I are in the process of being approved as social equity applicants. We will be applying for the mobile hospitality and the retail hospitality sales in Aurora. If the ordinance is passed, Aurora will now have a safe, licensed, and regulated establishment for residents, tourists, and other Coloradans to consume cannabis legally. As an Aurora resident, I look forward to these businesses. People will no longer have to consume outdoors in public places. This is a beneficial move for the public health and safety in our city. I'm asking Aurora City Council to move forward with the cannabis hospitality business in Aurora, as I am applying for social equity. Two of my partners have already been approved for the findings of suitability, so I do ask Aurora Council to move forward with this process. And we, as Journey Illusions, would like to be part of the process to help move forward on this ordinance. Thank you.
Mayor, that was the last caller.
Very well. Brief presentation by staff. Is staff available? Motion?
Rob is on. Robin?
Yeah, she should be on. I think she might have dropped. Oh, here she is. She's connecting now. Open, you're still mute. Can you do it without your headset?
Can't hear you, Robin.
This is Terry.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, actually, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know what happened. Anyway, the proposed ordinance provides for the following license types: hospitality without sales that can be fixed or mobile, and the hospitality with limited sales. The licensing scheme will be the same as the other license types, so it will require both a state and local license to operate. These licenses will not be required to have a public hearing. However, the applicant is required to include in its licensing application how it will comply with notifying the surrounding neighborhoods of a business coming into the area, the impact it may have on the neighborhoods, such as noise, lighting, and odor pollution. Staff is proposing that the marijuana hospitality without sales be issued to the existing stores. This is in line with the city's slow, calculated approach to rolling out new marijuana license types. Mobile premises would be available to all applicants. Marijuana hospitality with sales licenses would be available to anyone that applies that can meet all state and local requirements. Staff is proposing a cap of 24 of these licenses throughout the city, with no more than 25% concentration at any one ward. For the first 5 years, social equity applicants will be guaranteed at least 50% of the license granted, with a 50% discount on the fees for the first 5 years. The fee is yet to be determined. And that's a short presentation of what is in the ordinance. Questions?
Very well. Motion?
Mayor?
Councilmember Coombs.
Move to approve.
Been moved by Councilmember Coombs, seconded by?
Second
By Councilmember Marcano to approve item number 15B. I'm sorry, 15A. Further discussion?
Mayor?
Councilmember Coombs.
I just want to address some comments I think that we have all received, not only in this meeting, but also online, with respect to the presence of marijuana businesses within our city. I think that we have seen the existing businesses be successful, not result in increases in crime, and not do harm to our city, and in fact, provide great benefit. We use the tax revenue that we collect from these businesses to fund homelessness services, to fund youth violence prevention, and then we have additional general fund revenues that we're able to use. And so I think that we can't, on the one hand, be all too happy to collect these taxes and use them, and on the other hand, say that these businesses are the ones to blame for DUIs, when it's in fact bars. And we're not proposing shutting down all bars, even though that's what's resulting in the DUIs within our city. And so I just think if we want to talk about A, the benefits, and B, the fact that really we already have a great number of restrictions. If anything, these businesses are already much more regulated than alcohol serving businesses and other businesses within our city. We could say it's already treating them as a separate class and somewhat discriminatory. And I do not think it would be appropriate to say, no, we're just not going to allow these businesses to develop in our city, when we, in fact, allow a number of other types of businesses that do, in fact, contribute to crime and contribute to DUIs within our city.
Further discussion?
Mayor.
Councilmember Lawson.
So I just want to just say that one of the issues that I have in particular is the mobile party buses. One thing on this is that there's no caps for that, none whatsoever. And I struggle with that. I also I'm not sure if there's going to be any signage on these vehicles to let people know that they're rolling through Aurora. Are we going to have a GPS tracker, which that deals with privacy? I'm not sure on that. But first of all, if we're going to build all this marijuana infrastructure in our city, we definitely need to have the resources. And it looks like we probably have, I don't know, I think we're going to discuss this at the workshop, maybe an additional person. But if you're going to do this to actually put people in compliance, to make sure that people are following the laws and the rules, and these are kind of together. So I have a real issue more so with the mobile one. I just don't understand. We don't have a cap on that. It's just like, let anybody do that. How are we really going to evaluate the vehicles? And I don't think that we really have the infrastructure. And I know this will probably pass because it passed the first reading, but I hope that our council colleagues at the workshop looks at the infrastructure. We actually probably need to have a division with just more than 2 people actually regulating, because we have a lot of marijuana things going on in the city. So I just don't support that at all. I think, why do we have to be, I know being the first is good, but sometimes with everything that's going on in this city just right now, and I'm associating with just everything. I'm not just associating crime, just everything. We barely have the resources to deal with those issues and what comes with those things. So I will be voting no on this. And when people have wrote me and said, oh, you don't support social equity, that's untrue, because I supported the delivery. So I just have an issue with this. So thank you, Mayor.
Further discussion.
Mayor Dave Gruber.
Councilmember Gruber.
I mentioned during our study session my concerns about the long-term effects on smoking marijuana to lungs and the impact of potential cancer. I don't believe that's been studied long enough, given the fact that marijuana hasn't been legal for that long. But I'd also like to learn from the police department. Do we have a way, since this was brought up earlier, do we have a way to determine THC levels and to what is the process for determining whether someone is driving under the influence when it comes to marijuana? Do we have someone who can talk about that?
Staff.
So this is Jason Batchelor. Thanks, Mayor. This is Jason Batchelor. We do have an officer from our traffic unit. Officer Brooke Morey is on. If we could make her able to speak, she can, I think, answer questions about how we currently address driving under the influence of drugs and marijuana in general.
Good evening.
So, Brooke, if you're unmuted, go ahead. The floor is yours.
Okay. Councilmember Dave Gruber, to answer some of your questions specifically, I think you wanted to know how we would investigate a DUI involving cannabis. Is that correct?
It's more, if you see someone driving that you suspect is under the influence, the officer pulls that person over. For alcohol, there's a series of science-based techniques, starting with the sobriety test, but it goes to the blood alcohol level and things like that. For THC, my understanding is that that science is not as mature and is still debatable based on personal types, body types, weight, and the experience in smoking marijuana. So if you see someone driving erratically and pull them over for DUI, do you have a process that the courts accept for identifying THC levels and citing that person for DUI?
Yes, we do. So we would treat any drugs just like alcohol as far as the sobriety checks, the roadside sobriety checks, which would include testing for horizontal gaze and nystagmus, the walk and turn and one leg stand. Officers who are trained a little bit more than the basic DUI level, specifically A-RIDE, so the advanced impairment drug driving course that we can that they can attend. That would be an introduction towards the further training, what we would call the DRE, so the drug recognition expert, which is the highest level trained DUI detection officer on the street. So there'd be SFST, which is the basic level. Then you have A-RIDE, who would get a little bit more training, and then the DRE officer, who has the most training. But it all comes down to the basic standardized field sobriety test, which is the three I just spoke about: the horizontal gaze nystagmus, walk and turn, and one leg stand. If an officer can complete those tests and they deem that that person is not conducting those roadsides as a sober person would, then they have a few options. They can then invoke the express consent law, which would require a blood test. In that case, if it was suspected for marijuana, we would ask for a blood test over a breath test, let's say, for alcohol. And in that way, we would get the testing result from a laboratory, CBI, which is now doing all the testing in Colorado. And then we would wait for the blood results to come back, and the presumption for the impairment level for the state that has set would be 5 nanograms THC. And we're talking about THC delta 9 specifically, not the metabolite of THC, which could stay in your body for a longer period of time. The THC delta 9 specifically does metabolize out of your body. The science has shown about 2 hours into you smoking it, it kind of peaks high level and then it starts tapering off. So there are a few more additional tests that A-RIDE officers can do. We call a lack of convergence, where we would test to see if your eyes can cross. Typically, when you're impaired by marijuana, we have where we see lack of convergence, where one or both eyes will not converge to the center, and they actually do kind of sometimes a swooping motion and go back out. So there's that test that we can conduct on the roadsides. I do know there are some companies out there who are trying to do a PBT type device. That is still in the works, and there's nothing that has been proposed or given to law enforcement as a definitive piece of equipment that we can use on the side of the road. But I do know that they are looking into that and still in testing phases. But it really comes down to, sir, is the basic roadside testing. And that has been tried and true, scientifically proven as well through the DRE program to be a reliable method of detecting impairment, not just for alcohol.
Okay, if I could go further then. So I understand that the scientific method, or the thing that would identify actually how inebriated a person was, is still being developed. And again, it's based on weight, body type, and experience in smoking marijuana. Those who have smoked it for a long time can carry a higher level before they're shown to be inebriated. And I understand the discussions on the field sobriety test, but as far as going to court, and as far as even a judge of blood alcohol level and saying, based on his blood alcohol level, this person was in fact drunk, and based on the blood alcohol level, whether it's 0.8 or above, the level of punishment is applied. In marijuana, it still sounds like it's an officer's determination, a specially trained officer's determination, in a police force where hundreds of people have already resigned and we're struggling with personnel. So I guess I'm not asking a question at this point. I'm just pointing out that without that definitive amount of intoxication a person has based on THC level, it's an officer's judgment, and then it's a judge. The judge will have to determine who to believe at that point, whether the officer who did the sobriety test or the lawyer defending the person saying that that they had their experienced marijuana and that wasn't that high of a level for them. So my point is that I'm so concerned that we're in the learning phase on marijuana, that we don't have, it's not the same as alcohol, because we have rock solid legal guidance on alcohol, and we don't have that on marijuana.
Yeah, I think I can agree with you on that, Councilman.
Thank you.
Seeing no further discussion, will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of item number 15A?
Councilmember Coombs?
Yes.
Councilmember Murillo? Councilmember Murillo? Councilmember Gardner?
Yes.
Council Member Lawson,
No.
Councilmember Gruber,
No.
Mayor Pro Tem Bergen,
No.
Councilmember Berzins,
No.
Councilmember Hiltz,
Yes.
Councilmember Marcano,
Yes.
Councilmember Murillo.
Yes. Can you hear me? Yes.
Yes, thank you.
The mayor votes no.
Okay, the total is 5-5. The motion does not pass to approve ordinance 2021-31.
Will the clerk now please read the title of item number 15B?
15B is ordinance 2021-34 for an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Aurora, Colorado, amending the Unified Development Ordinance in order to address zoning classifications of marijuana hospitality businesses and to update the definitions accordingly.
Brief presentation by staff.
Mayor, this is Robin Peterson. This particular ordinance is related to the first ordinance that did not pass. So I believe this would be a moot ordinance.
City Attorney. City Attorney.
Unless Dan wants to jump. Oh, sorry, Dan. I'll let you talk.
No. Go ahead, Dave.
Okay. So this was a tie. It tied on the second reading. I believe that, and on procedural, it'll go to one more vote then, since it was a tie.
That's not my question. I'm sorry. My question is does item number 15B at this point require a vote?
Yes, it's a second reading on an ordinance, so it does require a vote. I would say do the vote like you did last, and see how it goes. So it does require a vote. It's a second reading.
Is there further discussion? Is there further presentation by staff?
Yes, Kim Creemeyer is on the line to give a brief presentation as to how where this could be located in the city and the buffers related to it.
Kim Creemeyer, Senior Planner. Mr. Mayor, Council, the amendment to the Unified Development Ordinance is proposed to allow the marijuana hospitality businesses in all mixed use and special purpose zone districts, except original Aurora residential zone districts, OAR1, OAR2, and RUM. The UDO amendment is in concert with the marijuana hospitality licensing ordinance and would affect the entire city. As mentioned before, the Amendment 64 committee considered treating these like bars, and after some discussion, the committee recommended no conditional use and no buffer from residential uses. The committee's recommendation was to have the hospitality licensing ordinance include the items that Robin has mentioned, the notification to abutting property owners prior to the establishment of the business, measures to address noise and lighting, limited hours operation, and to prohibit outdoor consumption. The committee's recommendation is to allow the bring your own option to existing marijuana stores only and allow the hospitality and sales option to new businesses and new locations. The committee also recommend the mobile consumption, but that would be dealt through licensing and not zoning. Staff recommends permitting both types of marijuana hospitality businesses as a single use in the UDO, allowing the use in the same mixed use and special zone districts as marijuana stores and bars and taverns, and also applying the same marijuana establishment use-specific standards. Staff also recommends limiting the hours operation 8 a.m. to 10 p.m., which is in which is consistent with the licensing ordinance. The proposed amendment is consistent with the spirit and intent of the city's adopted comprehensive plan and other policies and plans adopted by the city council, and also is required to promote economic growth and investment that will not create material risks to the public health, safety, and welfare. The Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval of the proposed text amendment on April 28th, 2021 at their regularly scheduled meeting. Therefore, staff finds that the proposed change meets the zoning approval criteria and recommends approval of the text amendment. With that, I conclude my presentation.
Motion.
Mayor?
Councilmember McConnell.
Thank you, sir. Move to approve 15B.
Moved by Councilmember McConnell, seconded by?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember Coombs to approve item number 15B. Discussion?
So, Mayor?
Councilmember McConnell.
Thank you, sir. Since this kind of ties into 15A, I know that we still have to vote on it, but since this is going to come back up procedurally again, could my colleagues please state their concerns specifically around the mobile aspect so that staff can really address that? Because, I mean, we already have mobile liquor party buses, and my understanding was that it's the exact same model with a bus with a different HVAC system, and this was discussed in committee or at study session, if memory serves. So I'd just like to get a refresher on that.
Further discussion? Seeing none, would the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of item number 15B?
Councilmember Berzins?
No.
Mayor Pro Tem Bergen?
No.
Councilmember Hiltz?
Yes.
Councilmember Murillo?
Yes.
Councilmember Gardner?
Yes.
Councilmember Gruber?
No.
Councilmember Coombs?
Yes.
Councilmember Lawson?
Did you say Lawson?
Yes.
Oh, no.
Councilmember Marcano?
Yes.
Mayor votes no.
The vote is 5-5. The motion does not pass to approve ordinance 2021-34.
Clerk, now please read the title to item number 15C.
Item 15C is ordinance 2021-32 for an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Aurora, Colorado, organizing Windler Business Improvement District Number 1, providing for an election of the Board of Directors of the district, and approving the 2019 operating plan budget for the district.
Brief presentation by staff.
This is Chesarina Dancy from the Office of Development Assistance. The city has received a petition for the proposed Windler Business Improvement District, or BID, number 1. This BID is part of the overall Windler development, which is planned to be a mix of commercial and residential uses. BIDs are able to provide different services, the metropolitan district, such as economic development, marketing, and advocacy services. We have legal counsel for the district as well as members of the development team in attendance this evening, should there be any questions.
Motion.
Mayor Dave Gruber.
Councilmember Gruber.
Move to approve 15C.
So moved by Councilmember Gruber, seconded by?
Berzins?
Seconded by Councilmember Berzins to approve item number 15C. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of item number 15C?
Councilmember Gardner?
Yes.
Councilmember Lawson?
Yes.
Councilmember Berzins?
Yes.
Councilmember Marcano?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bergen?
Yes.
Councilmember Gruber?
Yes.
Councilmember Coombs?
Yes.
Councilmember Hiltz?
Yes.
Councilmember Murillo? Councilmember Murillo.
Yes.
The motion passes to approve ordinance 2021-32.
Will the clerk now please read the title to item number 15D?
Item 15D is ordinance 2021-33 for an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Aurora, Colorado, organizing Windler Business Improvement District Number 2, providing for an election of the Board of Directors of the district, and approving the 2019 operating plan and budget for the district.
Brief presentation by staff.
The city has also received a petition for the proposed Windler Business Improvement District Number 2. This bid is also part of the overall Windler development, which is planned to be a mix of commercial and residential uses. And we do have legal counsel for the district here, should there be any questions.
Motion.
Mayor Dave Gruber.
Councilmember Gruber.
Move to approve 15D.
It's been moved by Councilmember Gruber, seconded by
Burzens.
Seconded by Councilmember Burzens to approve item number 15D. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, the question before us is the adoption of item number 15D. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Coombs?
Yes.
Councilmember Burzens?
Yes.
Councilmember Gruber?
Yes.
Councilmember Murillo? Councilmember Murillo?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Councilmember Gardner?
Yes.
Councilmember Hiltz? Mayor Pro Tem Bergen?
Yes.
Councilmember Lawson?
Yes.
Councilmember Mercano?
Yes.
The motion passes to approve ordinance 2021-33.
Reports, report by the mayor. I want to thank the 14-member.
Point of order.
Councilmember Mercano.
Sorry, I believe Councilmember Coombs had something before general reports.
Councilmember Coombs.
Yes, Mayor, I just would like to make a call up for the flats on the A site plan. The reason being because the site plan was approved prior to us approving the rezoning for that site. And so it seems to me that we should be seeing rezoning applications prior to a site plan application being approved. And so I think that it's warranted for council to then review that, given that we didn't have the opportunity to see what the rezoning was going to look like in order to be able to have that conversation prior to the site plan being approved without the correct zoning.
City Attorney, what's the procedure? We vote on this, and it would require 6 votes. Am I correct on that?
Yes, it would require 6 votes. Call up can be done by the second council meeting, which this is the second council meeting. It does require it's just a motion. So it requires the majority of the council members present, if that makes sense.
Well, okay, then it's been moved. The call up then has been moved by Councilmember Coombs, seconded by.
Second, sorry, I was muted.
Seconded by Councilmember Mercano.
Mayor?
Is this a debatable motion, City Attorney?
You can debate on the motion itself to call up exactly, in the same style that it was introduced, the reason for the call up. But if you were to debate the site plan itself at this time, that would be for the future hearing if it were to come up. So
discussion.
Yeah, Mayor.
Mayor Pro Tem.
So earlier, when we were debating the rezoning, I asked if there was a site plan application, and I was told no by the staff. So was a site plan approved?
A site plan was approved. That was approved on the 11th of August. And these both went to the Planning Commission at the same time. The rezone went first, the site plan then went. However, site plans don't go to council unless there is an appeal or a call up made. Right. And so the position taken by a council member who brought the vote is making a rational reason of saying how can we rezone something that we
Right, I
get to see the
understand
site
that, yeah.
prior. But under our procedure, site plans don't go to council. So
No, I understand that. I completely know that. I just wanted to make sure that it was actually approved by,
it was approved.
yeah, so I got my answer.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know how that happened. I've never seen that happen.
Further discussion? The question before us is, I'm sorry, which one is this?
It's
Mayor?
18
I'm sorry, 15.
or 18.
Number 18.
A. It's really just a motion. It's a motion. But I think Councilmember Hiltz has a discussion point.
Councilmember Hills.
So I voted against this rezone because I think that anything that's being built on TOD should have access for people who rely on TOD to be able to afford to live there. I have some heartburn about calling up the site plan because unless I'm mistaken, it's in the backup on page 561, and it talks about in the introduction portion of this item that there was a site plan that had already been submitted. So I guess I'm just missing what the new information is, because this is all in here and we get planning and zoning vote summaries and packets. So that was in here too. Unless this is not the full site plan that's in here and there's something missing that I'm just, as I'm scrolling through now, not seeing.
Further discussion, I'm sorry.
Told by staff. I'm sorry, Mayor. We were told by staff that the full site plan wasn't in there, that it was just the map, but also having the site plan and the rezoning approved on the same day by the Planning and Zoning Commission, when we as council still have to approve that rezoning. Perhaps it's permitted, but perhaps it shouldn't be. That seems to me to be out of order, that we're allowing a site plan to move forward when we haven't actually approved the rezoning to the required zones.
So I guess my question for staff is, what is this multiple page document from Norris Design on page 561 that says, I'm pleased to submit this letter of introduction for the site plan application that has, is this not the site plan? Because it talks about the rezoning, the site plan, the amenities, the parking, circulation adjustments, relevant codes, the application, it's multiple pages, and then it goes into maps, and then there's multiple exhibits that go with that. This is not the full site plan?
So this is Jason. It's my understanding that the site plan was approved conditionally, subject to the approval of the rezoning. And so that's the current status there. And I guess Dan Money can comment a little bit on, what that means for the effective date for being subject to the call-up.
And that is actually how every site plan and rezone, when they come together, the site plan always comes at the same time as the rezone, and it's always done on the condition that it actually gets the rezone. But if there are, I guess, questions, if council wanted the chance to hear about it, I guess that would end up being a code change to make sure that a site plan went after a rezone, but it would also add timing to the development process. And so those are that is a timing issue, and it's purely because a rezone needs to be done by ordinance and the site plan only needs to be done by planning commission unless it's called up or appealed. And so, but yes, it's always conditional on the rezone.
Mayor
So can I ask a follow-up, Mayor?
Councilmember Hills.
Thank you. Is that okay, Councilmember Gruber? I know you also had a question. Thank you. So I guess practically speaking, if the rezone has already been approved and that site plan was dependent on that rezone, which is already a done deal, and was voted on, what, if anything, could be done with a call up of a site plan? Because it sounds like it's contingent on something that council, mostly voted on already.
So the site plan could be called up and there would be a full public hearing as though it was appealed or called up, no matter if the rezone or not was done. The site plan would still have a public hearing and you would go through all the elements of the site plan. So you go through the elements of the site plan, hear the full presentation that planning commission heard, and then make your vote.
Further discussion.
And that would be,
I'm
would
sorry.
that be
Go ahead,
different
please.
from before? Sorry. Is
Please
that
proceed.
different from what went to planning and zoning and what's in the backup?
Yep.
I guess I'm just trying to figure out what is the end goal with the site plan being called up when it was dependent on a rezone that was already voted on with that information already in the backup? What changes could be made and what's that reasoning? Because it sounds like we would need a code change to be able to change the process on how things come forward.
Well, yeah, I mean, so there's two different things. The call up, you can call up any site plan. So even if it wasn't a rezone, you could call it the site plan. So even though it is conditioned that on the rezone, it still can be called up and done on the merits of the site plan. So if you wanted to call it up on the merits of the site plan, you could always do that, go by the criteria and code, and then say yes or no to the site plan at that hearing. As far as the timing of it, if you wanted to change the timing, then yeah, that would be a code change, and we could do that as well. But again, if they don't go together, one has to go before the other, and then they have to be done by council. It will extend that development application time that I know that staff's been trying to tighten up.
Further discussion. Oh, Councilor River.
So, Dan, you did say this, but I wanted to reiterate again, is that the support that was given to the site plan was conditional on council's approval of the zoning change. That was the way you said it? Did I understand that correctly?
Yeah. So if there was no call up or no appeal, then that site plan is conditioned on that rezone. And if you say, yes to the rezone, then that site plan is then good.
Okay,
if you said no to the rezone, yeah.
So technically the site plan wasn't approved until immediately after council approved the zoning change.
Correct. But
and let me ask another question. The going into the looking at the process again, council, and here correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is council will go in judicial mode at that point. In other words, it won't be a political mode. And in the judicial mode, we'll have to determine whether or not the zoning commission followed the laws and ordinances of the city and when they granted that site approval. Is that correct? We'll be in judicial mode.
So you are reviewing the planning commission and deciding on the planning commission, but you would be doing it in the same the same criteria that the planning commission uses. So even though you're the judicial body, you are still also the fact finder body, because if you feel like they did it incorrectly and you had enough votes to do that, then you could go by the criteria. So yes, you're the judicial, but you're also the fact finder within that judicial. So it's kind of both roles.
Okay, but if we determine that that the zoning commission, planning and zoning commission did in fact follow the rules appropriately under a judicial hat, we would have to say we agreed that you did in fact follow it and then support that zoning approval. Here's what I'm afraid of, or what I'm concerned about. The one thing I'm concerned about is that the developer just met with us and said that they're ready to start immediately. And what we're saying now is that we're going to delay this until our next council meeting, or possibly if that agenda is full, then a council meeting after that. So we could be up to a month delay to this developer, where the developer is paying their team right now to start this work and get this project underway. Second thing I'm concerned about is the opportunity to start adding things to the requirements that go beyond the code. In other words, we had a discussion about affordable housing and things like that. So if council said, even though the zoning commission approved it, we want you to add affordable housing. And if you don't add affordable housing, then we're going to say no to it, which would violate our judicial responsibility. So given that both of those are bad things, I recommend that we just go forward. I think the Planning and Zoning Commission did a good job. The package is in, their results are in our package, and I think we just go forward and let this developer begin work on creating more housing in Aurora. Mayor, that's all I have.
Further discussion.
Mayor.
Councilmember McConnell.
Thank you, sir. Questions to the city attorneys. I have witnessed prior to my time on council, council calling up site plans or even during rezoning applications discussing affordability in which developers actually agreed to include some level of affordability. Now, sadly, that didn't pass because council voted it down at the time, but that is something that we're able to do in our quasi-judicial role, is that not? We both interpret the code as it stands, but we are also still sitting city council members, so that political aspect or the asks, our ability to make asks as a developer, is not waived. Is that correct?
You're still able to call it up, and you're still able to go by the elements in code under what, as elected officials, how you choose to do it.
Okay, I'll take that as a yes.
Further discussion.
Mayor Persons?
Councilmember Persons.
Thank you. Now, I want to thank our planning department to try to move units along, to try to get more units built. We know we're short, and that's one thing we talk about at PED is to hurry up the process so we can get these much needed units, housing units available for our residents. You know, we need them in all income levels. And we do talk about that in PED, and I want to thank planning and that department for doing that. And, you know, I just want to say the longer we prolong this, the more expensive these units become. If it's going to take us another month or 6 weeks to approve this, hash this out, go back and vote again, you know, it's, you're adding costs to these, and that's something that we don't want to do. We want to hurry up and get them built for our residents. And I just see this as adding costs, and I don't want to get into the extortion thing. You know, I want this to be straightforward. They have a plan, and I just don't want to add money to what they're going to have to charge. And like Councilmember Gruber said, they're paying their team, and money is just racking up every day. And who pays for it? The residents. So, you know, I would urge us to move it on and get these units built. Thank you.
Further discussion.
Mayor.
Councilmember McConnell.
Thank you, sir. I think it is in everyone's best interests to remember the housing plan that we passed, and also to consider the Aurora Places plan, where we actually have a massive deficit of non-market rate housing in this city. That is, you know, I think the study was from 2017. I think we identified at the time 14,000 units of non-market rate housing, so 80% and lower, that we were missing. That number has only grown. You are all cleanly aware of the growing unhoused population here. You are all cleanly aware of the extreme cost of living here, of the unaffordability of even a one-bedroom apartment for folks who work minimum wage here, and even slightly above minimum wage. So I think it is actually in the best interest of the city that we actually go back to the negotiating table and see if we're able to get some kind of mutually beneficial agreement with a great opportunity, and frankly what I think is a good development otherwise, that we discussed tonight, so that we can actually address some of those issues. It's not going to be a silver bullet, but I think we can at least get on the path to addressing that issue while still getting some market rate housing, because I know that's what some folks want to see as well. So
further discussion. Councilmember Gruber.
Again, I'm hoping people are watching this, because what we're saying is that we've come up with a UDO, or with our planning guidance, we've come up with all the direction to give people who own property, and said, if you follow these rules, then your project will be approved. If council wants to go further than that, and council wants to go beyond the rules that you have, we can incentivize you to do things by giving you money, or by giving you tap fees or other things that would incentivize you to reduce your costs to pay for those things that council wants that you don't want. But I think that the developers that are watching may remember just a few months ago We made a deal with a developer to create a TOD development adjacent to the Colfax station. We promised him $1 million if he did or we didn't, but our previous councils going back a number of years promised him $1 million. And then this council said, you know what? We disagreed with the previous discussion. We're taking that $1 million away. Go have a nice life. Anybody would be foolish to come to this council now to say, when council says, we want to make a deal with you, we will give you money if you do things that you wouldn't do ordinarily. And then again, if you bring that forward, then you get that money. Given the track record of this council, I think that would be a very poor decision on any developer coming forward.
Further discussion? Seeing no further discussion, the question before us is the question of the call-up of the Councilmember Coombs proposal for the call-up, seconded by Councilmember McConnell. Is there further discussion? Seeing no further discussion, would the clerk please call the roll?
Mayor Kaufman?
No.
Councilmember Gardner?
No.
Councilmember Hiltz?
No.
Councilmember Berzins?
No.
Councilmember Coombs?
Yes.
Councilmember Marcano?
Yes.
Councilmember Murillo? Councilmember Murillo?
Yes.
Hello? Yes, I can hear you. Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Bergen?
No.
Councilmember Lawson?
No.
Councilmember Gruber?
No.
The motion does not pass.
Very well. Reports by the mayor. Last week, led a delegation to El Salvador. It's since late Mayor Hogan, it's been a sort of a tradition for each mayor, and Mayor Laguerre did it as well. Council members Marcano and Councilmembers Marcano and Coombs accompanied me on the trip, and it was looking to strengthen our economic ties and our cultural ties with the people of El Salvador. And I think it was a very successful trip, and I also want to thank the others who went with us. Councilmember Hiltz.
Thank you. I have two things. One, the city Parks Department is putting on, I don't have the exact title in front of me, Park Lights and Movie Nights on Thursdays for, I believe, the next month. So I highly recommend checking out the website. They'll have food trucks and a movie, and it's family friendly and fun for kids. So that, I think, is a great opportunity for people looking to do something outside. And then also our Parks Committee meeting had an on-site meeting last week now on Friday at Plains Conservation Center, and it was a ton of fun, very informative. We got to take the tram and learn more about the wildlife and the history, and just a really exciting time, I think, that was out there. And I got to bring my little one out with us, and got to see some goats, and that's always really fun. So if you're looking for another outdoor event to do, that's a really fun one. And the animals are there, I think, for another couple of weeks. So also, check the website for more complete information. But it was a really good time. Highly recommend people heading on over there. That's it. That's all I have. Thank you.
Councilmember Lawson.
Thank you, Mayor. First, I want to just say congratulations to the Aurora NAACP for the opening of their Economic Development Center. I think that's going to be a great addition to our city and also to our residents and to the community. I was unable to attend, so I'm sure that other council members will give a briefing on that, whoever attended the opening. Everyone, next week is the CML conference. So I will provide a report from the executive board. We have a meeting during that conference. Our federal update, the Senate returns this week for votes on President Joe Biden's nominees. The House committees will continue their work this week to finalize Democrats' $3.5 trillion tax and spending measures before the end of the month. State updates, more than 160 new Colorado laws took effect last week, including a number of priority bills for the city. These included related to affordable housing, military family open enrollment in public schools, and replacing the term illegal alien in public contracts. RTD will have our next meeting on October 14th. In Luke's memo, he did state that RTD did approve, the board approved their 5-year strategic plan. So he did provide a link in his memo if you want to review that. That's all I have, Mayor.
Councilmember Gruber.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to make a call out to the military members, specifically those military members that have served since Desert Storm up until the latest withdrawal. In my career, I was a young captain. I did 2 tours in the Pentagon. I was a young captain on General Powell's staff when he was chairman of the Joint Chiefs. So I was there working for General Powell when Desert Shield and Desert Storm kicked off. And then my second tour, I was a colonel and I was assigned to the air staff. My wedge in the Pentagon was being rebuilt. So the wedge that the airplane hit was the wedge that my staff and I would have been in if we hadn't moved to Roslyn, 2 metro stations away. The folks that served in the military have done an outstanding job, and I all should be proud of what was done and what you did. The withdrawal from Afghanistan was certainly not done well at the strategic level, but at the tactical level, the men and women of the military did an outstanding job and should be very proud. The war's not over yet. I mean, again, we don't get to decide when the war is over. The other guy gets to decide. So it's not over yet, and there's more to come. And I'd like all of those people in the military to be aware that we recognize that there's more to come. But for the work that you've done for the last 20 years, it's been very important to the nation, and I salute you for that.
Councilmember Gardner?
No report.
Councilmember Murillo?
Mayor, I've been having audio issues. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. I wanted to just, there was a lot of events this weekend. Certainly,
No, I'm afraid we lost you. I'll come back to you, Councilmember Murillo. Let's see. Councilmember McConnell.
I think we skipped Councilmember Berzins, Mayor.
Oh, I'm sorry you did. Councilmember Berzins, Ward 3.
Thank you. I didn't know we were going in any order, but I'll be happy to talk. I want to thank the people that came out for our Ward 3 candidate forum last Wednesday night. It was very successful. We had John O. Scott representing Ward 3 and 4 at-large candidates, candidate Hogan, Jurinsky, Ronquillo, and Zvonik. They were there asking a lot of questions. And they all did a very good job. And I'm sorry that more people couldn't come, but it was a good experience for them to get out in front of people and people to hear their answers to the questions. And those of you that want to hear more, on September 29th will be the large candidate forum, the Channel 8 candidate forum, and it will be virtual. So I'm sure you'll be able to go on the website and find out how you can watch them. And for some of them, I believe it'll be their first time at a candidate forum, so that'll be interesting. And I did want to thank the Crandalls, Mr. and Mrs. Rick Crandall, for putting on the commemoration event for us on 9/11 at the Colorado Freedom Memorial. They did an excellent job. He said it was thrown together in a couple of weeks, but you couldn't tell. He's such a professional, or they work together. They're such professionals at this that they can they can put this together quickly, and they had some wonderful people there, and I was honored to be there, and honored to hear about how our firefighters and police and all of our first responders, they just jump at keeping us safe. What a horrible thing happened on 9/11, and they gave their lives to keep people safe and try to pull people out. So I want to say thank you for that, and for all of our military in Afghanistan. Thank you so much.
Councilmember McConnell.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I want to start off by congratulating President Montgomery and the Aurora NAACP on the opening of their Economic Development Center. I apologize that I was not able to make the grand opening as we were out on our delegation to El Salvador, but I am very excited that the center is in Ward 4, and I will be stopping by soon. Our October Ward 4 meeting is going to be on Thursday, October 14th at 6:30 at the Stampede. So that's a date change. We're moving to Thursday for this one instead of Wednesday. And it's going to be our last meeting of the year, since folks let me know that, Novembers and Decembers, they prefer to not have meetings. There's a lot of travel and whatnot and family time. So yeah, hopefully y'all can join us there. Should be a good time.
Councilmember Combs.
Thank you, Mayor. Sorry, it took me a minute to unmute. I apologize. So yes, was very excited to be able to attend the El Salvador delegation with the mayor, Councilmember Marcano, and the other community leaders that were present, including my state representative, Naquita Ricks. I think we had great opportunities to meet with mayors of a lot of different cities throughout the country. Folks really came from far and wide to the areas surrounding San Salvador to be able to have the opportunity to meet with us, talk with us, and build those ties. And that effort on their part was greatly appreciated. As far as the Ward 5 meetings, we have our October meeting on the 6th at 6 p.m. at Heather Gardens. And then for reports, the Visit Aurora board will have our annual board workshop Wednesday through Friday of this week. And we will be meeting with the consultants that did the tourism survey, destination tourism survey for the city, that went out to elected officials, other leaders, partners, and businesses, and we'll review those results to help determine the 3-year strategic plan for Visit Aurora. So we're looking forward to that opportunity to just look at how we can continue to improve tourism opportunities within the city. And for DRCOG, they're meeting this week. The mayor will be attending in my place, as I will be at that board workshop. And thanks to everyone who put on a variety of events this weekend, but certainly and particularly Rick and Diane Crandall for the 20th anniversary of 9/11 celebration that they did put on at the Colorado Freedom Memorial.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mayor. I had E470 actually was quite busy, had on Wednesday a board workshop all day where we went over just really the board orientation, some functions of our structure and our subcommittees. And then we also had a procurement process update. And then we had the board meeting on Thursday, followed by executive session, pretty much just contracts to approve, and then an advertising agency award. Also on Friday, the mayor and I attended the Colorado Outreach Exchange, which is a leadership class for the Colorado National Guard. So really good discussion that day about emergency responses and how we can collaborate together. And then I think that's it. I do have a neighborhood watch meeting this Wednesday evening with the Wheatlands community. Thank you.
Public invited to be heard.
Mayor, this is Councilmember Murillo. Can you hear me now?
Oh, I'm sorry, Councilmember Murillo. Please proceed.
No worries.
Yes, we can hear you.
No worries. Apologies for tech issues. Just wanted to just acknowledge some of the events that were in celebration and in memory of the 20th anniversary of the 9/11 tragedy. The Patriots Day 9/11 20th anniversary commemoration at the Colorado Freedom Memorial was a really wonderful way to start out the event. We also honored the 9/11 tragedy at a later event in the district around youth violence prevention. We invited our first responders, our fire and police departments to join that event while also working towards improving our community, and ended the day at the New American Arts Festival opening reception, which, you know, it is a difficult day for many, and I just felt that it was appropriate to spend that time in community to celebrate and to honor those who have fallen and to celebrate what people were fighting for, and that's community. And so I just wanted to give a shout out to folks who were willing to honor what happened 20 years ago today, and move forward and continue to move forward together, and celebrate and honor folks with these different community events. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Public invited to be heard.
There's nobody in the line.
Thank you, everyone. Meeting adjourned.
Night, y'all.